Yellow belts are going to have to break a board, a plastic rebreakable board, for their testing to get from yellow to green belt. And we're going to do this with a hand technique. They've got their choice of 3 different hand techniques they can use: hammer fist, elbow smash, or palm heel. So this video right here, we're going to deal with hammer fist. Breaking the board with hammer fist, super easy as far as getting the technique, but it's a little bit of a mental challenge to go through something that's a little bit harder than a cushy target, right? What I do when I'm working on my hammer fist is I start with my strongest hand, whichever one they write with usually is the one I have them pick to do this board break, and start with that by that same ear. So this is my right hand by my right ear. I start in my back stance, see my feet like an L, both knees bent, and I'll shift my front foot over and make a front stance as I come down and through, okay? One thing a lot of people have trouble with when they're trying to break boards, bricks, and show their power is they'll stop their technique. They're only thinking about hitting here, and they want to bounce back. That's not what we're looking for. I want to start at my ear, and I want the fist to go all the way down to the floor, and I'm not going to stop until it does. So from here, I'll shift my front foot over, and I don't finish until I'm down at the floor. That's what I want my technique, my power, to go all the way through this. I don't want it to stop. I don't want it to bounce back. When you're doing with a hammer fist, it's the meaty part right here, not your pinky knuckle that we want to hit with. It's that meaty part that we want to hit with. So if you made a good Taekwondo fist, squeeze tight, thumb out, touch 2, this squeezing right here should kind of puff that out and tighten that up for you. All right, so again, that's what this hand's doing. The other hand, I have it over here by the side of the board or by the side of the target to gauge my distance. Right now, I know I'm close enough I can already hit it. The other thing this one does is if I want to get my hips into this for my power, one side is going to push forward as I'm pulling that hand down. The other side, pulling this hand back on the other side of my hip can help speed the whole process up and help speed my hips up. So from here, both hands are ready. Shift that front foot forward and out to a good front stance. I'll pull this hand on my belt at the same time this one's going down. Bam! Yell, release all your body's energy. That's a good way of doing a board break. Now, one more way of practicing this. It's one thing to practice on a cushy pad or target, but if you have maybe a real thick, this is too skinny for me personally, but you have a nice good phone book at home, or you can find a phone book, and next time it gets thrown on your lawn and you don't really need it, you don't use it, duct tape it up. That's kind of a fun way to do it. I drew a little target right in the middle of mine to give me something to focus on, something to look at, and then you use this as your practice, right? Your board breaking practice. So for a hammer fist, the board wants to be, just get one bar real quick. You want to hold it lengthwise, not up and down, but side to side, and at an angle, just like we did the target. If you point it flat, what I find a lot of students do is they'll hit their arm, their forearm on the board before their fist hits. So angle it in a little bit, all right, and give them a chance to practice. They're not going to go all the way down to the floor, but it gets their hand a little bit more used to and built up to hitting something a little bit harder than a cushy pillow or a target. That way when it comes time for a board to be put in front of them, they have a little bit less of a mental block. They've gotten used to hitting it and going into it a little bit. So this is, if you got someone who you think is going to have some difficulty or you want to really challenge them to get up to the next level, this is another way of doing that at home. It's not mandatory, but it's worked for me. Okay, so there's hammer fist, target drills, and board breaking practice right there.